Yeah, they hate.
ATP, what it do with your boy Clay? More rain. Back at y'all with another one. Shout out to my brother Blue. That was my shout now Blue. Back at y'all with another one. Yeah, we back at it, man. Jake Paul, all over the web, all over the algorithm. Boxing's number one topic right now seems to be Jake Paul on the back end of what they call the spectacle of a fight between him and Mike Tyson. A big card that Netflix put on Friday. A pretty successful card from what I understand, 65+ million viewers or homes, not including all the people in the home, right? So 65 million homes multiplied by however many people average in each home watching the fight. The whole world tuned in to see Jake Paul and Mike Tyson have this fight. A lot of people seem to be really fooled or delusional or maybe just overly committed to seeing Mike Tyson have a great evening of fighting. Wanted to see Iron Mike Tyson, the big puncher, go ahead and stop the Jake Paul train, derail the Jake Paul train from speaking all this crazy nonsense about wanting to become a champion one day, wanting to fight the likes of a Canelo Alvarez. But listen, man, the fight went down. A 58-year-old Mike Tyson showed his age, showed that, there's limitations to everything in life. And, one thing's for sure, two things for certain. Father Time will always remain undefeated, really doesn't care about any of your aspirations or your thoughts or grandeur of being the person who can will over any obstacle just because your mind says to do it, right? Mike Tyson falls short, loses a decision fight, 8 rounds, 2 minutes each round, 16 minutes total of fighting. And Mike Tyson walks away with north of $20 million for the fight. What a great exchange, right, of services. But what came out of this? Well, it looks like the boxing space is raged out of control, completely just focused on this fight, upset with Jake Paul, saying, look, man, we're making ourselves look crazy out here as far as the boxing community is concerned, right? Allowing Jake Paul to punch on legacy, to punch on a national treasure like Mike Tyson at 58 years old, so that this guy can actually have on his professional record that he's actually defeated Mike Tyson with a unanimous decision. Kind of puts a foul taste in a lot of people's mouth. But thoughts go out and say, listen, Jake Paul, although he took his time, didn't knock Mike Tyson out. Looks like at points in the fight he took his foot off the gas and respected the legacy of the Hall of Famer and Mike Tyson, and said, listen, I'm not going to quote to Jake Paul, say, hurt somebody who doesn't need to be hurt, right? But the space is upside down. And for once, for the first time in Jake Paul's career, a lot of the boxing space who are in disagreement with the way that fight went down want to avenge Mike, right? And we're talking about the likes of Artur Beterbiev, Carl Froch, even Andre Ward has implied that Jake Paul should consider calling his name if he wants a real fight. Plenty of boxers, Edgar Berlanga, even Gervonta Tank Davis has shared the way he felt about it. The bottom line is he seems to be the most wanted boxer right now in the space of boxing. So has Jake Paul's boxing career finally hit a crossroads, right? This kid has been able to get away with a lot based on the fact that of his novice experience. He's amateur to say the least, right? With no amateur background, fighting the likes of MMA fighters like Tyrone Woodley and Ben Askren, and fighting maybe 2 boxers who weren't active and, we never heard of, guys who had regular jobs, who never even really boxed in a long time, was able to stop those guys. But when he finally got into the ring with somewhat of a boxer like a Tommy Fury, who comes from a boxing family, came and fell short, right? But Jake Paul's one, never short of words, has put out offers and shared aspirations of wanting to fight Canelo Alvarez, right? And some people might say, listen, if Jake Paul, I had a real interesting conversation, to be honest with you. Let me rewind this. I had a real interesting conversation with Blue Blood Sports TV. Y'all go subscribe to Blue Blood Sports TV. I co-host on the show. We had an interesting conversation today. Blue Blood was basically saying, listen, man, if it wasn't for Jake Paul's celebrity, he'd actually be doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing as a boxer, as far as the quality of opponents that he's fighting against, right? Well, I pushed back at the idea because I said, listen, Jake Paul is honestly on a trajectory of trying to become a champion and trying to be taken seriously as a boxer. Then he'd take the path of a boxer trying to work that, fight the right fighters that he's supposed to be fighting in the stage of boxing and he's at, right? Fight boxers, fighting a retired Tyron Woodley who's never boxed before, not professionally at least, right? Fighting Ben Askren who has a wrestling background who's never boxed professionally once again. I'll give him a little respect for finding Anderson Silva, being that Anderson Silva did have that experience in the ring, was able to stop Chavez Jr. on the night he fought him. Well, he didn't stop him, excuse me. Let me stop saying that. He beat him, right, in a unanimous decision. But even him, mixed martial arts background, not a boxing first type of person, these fights don't count in the conversation of Jake Paul becoming this champion one day, being somebody who can actually be in the conversation of fighting the Canelo Alvarez, or even the fighters that are calling him out, not Andre Ward calling him out, but Artur Beterbiev and Carl Froch and all these fighters that call him out. Really, what has Jake Paul done to earn that? But after punching on a legacy like Mike Tyson, after bringing that type of pressure to a national treasure in the sport, a lot of boxers are finding a lot of motivation. And it seems like Jake Paul, I'll be honest with you, we may be at a point in Jake Paul's career where he no longer can escape, right, the presence of fighting a real contender, somebody who really can bring him some danger, a 50-50 fight. Will Jake Paul step up to that? Now, I've always been on the idea that Jake Paul's been doing this for money, marketing himself, and obviously facilitating a platform for all the fighters that are under his banner to perform, right? I mean, without Jake Paul, where would Amanda Serrano be with Katie Taylor? Where would H2O be, even though he just got stopped recently, right? Where would the fighters in that card have had an opportunity to showcase their talents in front of 65+ million people? Mario Barrios, Shadasia Green, these fighters that showed up on his card and had a huge opportunity based on this quote unquote spectacle. But we're at a place now where, although Jake Paul may have done great things for these boxers, and he can pat himself on the shoulder and say, listen, I didn't knock Mike Tyson out, and I facilitated and opened up a new rollout with Netflix for boxing, potentially for all promotional companies. There's still a certain misjustice, right? A missed justice that the boxing space seems to still be thirsty for. They want to see Jake Paul pay. And should they be feeling this way? Aren't they well within their right? If you're going to do something like that against Mike Tyson and take the credibility to have that on your record and have Mike Tyson victory on your record, then you should be ready and available to fight some of the best boxers in the game, or at least a top 10, top 15 boxer. A lot of boxers are calling Jake Paul out right now that never even would speak his name or even consider getting in the ring with him, because let's be real, their legacy's on the line. Who is Jake Paul? He's a YouTuber. Why involve that? But he seems to have motivated a lot of these fighters. And I think the payday probably is obviously there as well, right? Fighting Jake Paul right now, he's a hot commodity. He has a platform like Netflix. There's a lot of money on the table for these fighters to fight against Jake Paul. Can he get away with fighting some mixed martial art guy anymore, or fighting some fighter who's not a boxer? Is Jake Paul going to be allowed to get away with that, or is this going to be the moment of truth for him, where either he's going to embrace boxing and what boxing has for him, being that boxing has paid him so much money, that the culture has done so much for him, that it's time for him to respond to the culture and reciprocate the energy and give the fans a fight that makes sense. If you want to be taken seriously, if Jake Paul really wants to become a champion one day, he's going to have to take this task on. You guys let me know in the chat, in the comments, what you think, because I think it's real interesting right now, because as much attention as he's getting, and as much of a marketing genius Jake Paul seems to be, it does seem like this final move that he's done with Mike Tyson might have put him in a bit of a pickle, right? Bit of a situation that might be a little bit more than he anticipated it being. Did Jake Paul anticipate the boxing space not only responding to him with all the aggression and indifference that they are for beating on Mike Tyson, but ultimately all of these boxers now calling his name out, all the way up to the current undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, and even fighters like Andre Ward, Carl Froch, who are retired but well within the right age and still be able to compete with Jake Paul at the highest level You guys let me know what you think. I think it's interesting watching this all come together. Congratulations, though, to everybody on that card. Netflix had the great rollout. The production was beautiful, but the internet was crashing, and the servers were crashing due to the overload of all the viewers. That's something Netflix is going to have to holler at. I'm sure they will go ahead and tweak whatever they need to tweak to make sure the next event runs a lot more smooth. But honestly, at the end of the day, what a great event, man. Dallas Cowboys Stadium, 76,000 people in attendance. You can't ask for more, right? Great fights all over the undercard outside of the spectacle. But Jake Paul right now being at the top of the list, on the top of every conversation on every platform that I'm looking on damn near on the internet right now. It's going to be interesting to see how he deals with this pressure and how he responds to it. Does he step in the ring with an actual contender at this point, somebody who can give him some issues? Now that he has Mike Tyson on his record, there's no more amateur, there's no more prospect, there's no more growing process that I believe that the boxing space is going to embrace anymore at this point. Seems like if you can beat Mike Tyson, you can fight Andre Ward, you can fight even I heard DMs going on between Jake Paul and Daniel Dubois, the current IBF heavyweight champion of the world. I mean, it's diabolical. We'll see what it is, guys. Let me know what you think. Shout out to all my subscribers. You guys are the best. We're building up the channel, moving in a great direction right now. If this is your first time tapping into the content, I'm inviting you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit your bell icon so you all get alerts when all this content is dropping. And you guys know how we carry it. At this point, we out.